This is a project-based video. This is part 1 in a series that will guide you through rendering a complete composition. In this video, you will work to set up the mid-century modern interior illustration by modifying pixels from the background layer, removing background pixels from specific areas, and use transform controls to scale objects. The illustration we are working on was created by the genius of Jen Ski in her Mid-Century Modern Mania book series. My name is CJ Robb, and I'm your facilitator. Let's get started. There are 2 ways for you to proceed through the project. Either work alongside with me, or watch the entire video first, and then re-watch the video as you work. Reclaim this project from the beginning as your own by going to the File pull-down menu to Save As. Be sure you're working from your computer's hard drive in a designated folder for the project. The file format should be Photoshop. Embed your color profile and rename your file as your last name _MC1. That stands for Mid-Century Modern Part 1. In Part 1 of this lesson, you will be setting up the infrastructure of the file. You will learn how to remove pixels from the original background layer and paste the pixels into a new layer. Pixels that will need to be removed from the original background layer include the toy jacks, the 2 framed pieces of artwork, the objects inside the interior of the cabinet on both shelves. We will edit the pixels from the original background layer using the Cut command, and then move them to a new layer using the Paste command. Copy, cut, and paste commands are located under the Edit pull-down menu. The second part of this video will prepare the areas to be rendered in Part 2, which include clearing the pixels from the wall and the floor areas. The new tools you will be introduced to include lasso selection tools, marquee selection tools, and the color range selection. Additional operational commands you will be introduced to include save selection and load selection. Let's get started with the modification to the original background layer. As always recommended, you will need these following panels for this particular lesson. Go to the Window pull-down menu to deploy Tools, Options, Layers, History, and Navigator. Within the project file, make the background layer the current layer. Unlock the background layer by picking on the lock symbol. Notice that when you unlock the original background layer, that Photoshop renames it Layer 0. Let's see this again up close. Make background layer current, pick on the lock symbol to unlock the layer, and watch Photoshop rename the background layer to Layer 0. You will now be introduced to a new selection tool called the Lasso tool. Let's take a hyperpause here. The Lasso tool family houses 3 different lasso tools: regular lasso, polygonal lasso, and the magnetic lasso tools. You can learn more about each of these tools beyond this video from my YouTube library. In this lesson, we will use the regular lasso tool. To use the lasso tool to select the toy jacks, first zoom up on the jacks close. and then pick a starting point somewhere near the outline of the jacks, but not directly on the black pixel outline. Hold down your mouse and drag the lasso around the object until you enclose it. Once you've made a closed loop, you will see the marching ants. It is now time to remove the selected pixels from the background layer by using the Cut command. To do this, go to the Edit pull-down menu to Cut. You will see a hole disappear from the background layer. This is what we want to happen at this point. The next step is for us to isolate the cut pixels onto a new layer. To do this, go back to the Edit pull-down menu to Paste Special, Paste in Place. This will put the pixels back in precisely the same place, but on a new layer that Photoshop creates. Let's watch what happens one more time up close so that you can see both commands happen at once. When we use the Paste Special, Paste in Place command, notice that when we do that, Photoshop automatically makes a new layer for the pasted pixels. Now is a good time to rename the layers with logical names. It becomes very difficult to understand your illustration once you have more than a few new layers. Watch what happens when I turn off and on the visibility eye for the new jacks layer. The gray and white checkerboard pattern indicates that is a transparent area, which means there are no pixels there. Remember, when you see white pixels in a Photoshop document, that means there are actually pixels there. Going on in the project setup process, let's repeat the Cut and Paste Special sequence for removing the framed artwork, followed by the interior cabinet objects. Since the outline of the artwork exists on layer 0, we must make that the current layer in order to select the right pixels. To do this, you will be introduced to a new selection tool called the Marquee tool. Let's take a hyperpause here to explore the Marquee tools. There are 4 tools in the Marquee family of tools. We will be working with the rectangular Marquee tool only for the next part of this video. The order of operation is make layer 0 the current layer. Use Marquee tool to select pixels. Go to the Edit pull-down menu to cut. Go back to the Edit pull-down menu to Paste Special, Paste in Place. Then rename the new layer as a logical name. I will repeat the process with the bottom artwork. Remember, you have to make layer 0 the current layer, because that is where the pixels for the bottom art piece is still located. We will repeat the process 2 more times with the interior cabinet objects using the Marquee tool. Each time, make sure that layer 0 is the current layer before you try to cut out the pixels. Tip. One tip I can offer that is if you accidentally get too close to the outline of the cabinet pixels, you can go to the Selection pull-down menu to Transform Selection and adjust the selected area. Be sure to hit the check mark at the top when you're satisfied with your selection. Once you've cut the top interior cabinet pixels, go to the bottom cabinet layers and repeat the process. See if you can remember to make layer 0 the current layer before you try to cut out the pixels from the bottom shelf. Once you've moved the pixels to their own layers, it's time to do a little bit of cleanup. Let's clean up the extraneous pixels from the floor, jacks, and interior cabinet shelves. Make layer 0 the current layer. Use the magic wand tool to select the flooring pixels. Go to the Edit pull-down menu to clear, or hit the Delete key on your keyboard. Let's clean up the interior cabinet pixels next. Turn off all the layers except the interior cabinet layers. Make the top interior cabinet layer the current layer. Use the magic wand tool to select the background pixels. Once you've selected all the pixels behind the objects on the shelf, go to the Edit pull-down menu to clear. This will eliminate the selected pixels. The Delete key on your keyboard also works. Repeat the process again for the bottom shelf. Once you've cleared the pixels from the shelves, let's clean up the toy jacks. Turn on the jacks layer and turn off all the other layers. Make the jacks layer current. Use the magic wand to select the white pixels around the exterior of the jacks outline. Hit the Delete key or go to the Edit pull-down menu to clear. To turn in this assignment, take a screenshot of your drawing screen. Make sure to include the file name and the layer panel. The entire layer panel needs to be expanded in order for you to receive full credit for this assignment. In the next video, we will begin the rendering process and introduce you to a new selection tool, Color Range. You will also learn the Define Pattern command for making customized patterns for your illustrations. Finally, special thanks to the genius illustrations of Jen Ski in MidCentury Modern Mania. If you want to learn more than what is covered in this class, please subscribe to the CJ Robb classes on YouTube so that you can get a weekly update on software and training in Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Acrobat, AutoCAD, and more.